Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Sean Paris, and we're on week 2 of the NFL. And guys, a lot to talk about because I was wrong quite a bit. As you can see, the record of week 1, I am 7-7-1 for the season so far. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth while we're choosing our games. We're going to start out with the Thursday night game. The LA Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a pretty good primetime game, especially week 2 on Thursday night to kick off the week of football. And guys, after seeing how the Chargers played against the Raiders in LA, I feel like they should have won by more than 5 points with Derek Carr throwing 3 interceptions. So with this one and with it being at Arrowhead Stadium, I'm going to give this one to the Chiefs. Now we're going to move on to Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams are coming off a win. The Ravens coming off the win against the Jets, and Miami coming off their win against the Patriots. Now, this is kind of almost a hard one, but for this week, I will give this one to Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore defense, I feel like, will be able to stop the Miami offense from doing what the Patriots couldn't stop them from doing, and I feel that Baltimore will be able to take this one, especially with being at home. I have been proven wrong already a couple of times, and we're going to talk about those, especially on the next one. But the Ravens will win in Baltimore at home against Miami. Now, for our third game this week, we're going to... Now, for our third game this week, we're going to talk about the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. Now, this is a Browns team that I did not think were going to show up to play in week 1 against Carolina, and they were able to stop Carolina in Carolina and be able to bring home a 1-0 victory to play their first season game, and it will be against the Jets. And this one, I'm giving to Cleveland. And if Hunt can keep doing what he did against Carolina, it might be a team to look out for, especially in the AFC. But let's not hold our breath, and I have been proven wrong before, but I don't feel like this one will be wrong, and I feel like that this one will be one that Cleveland will be able to beat against the Jets. Now, for our fourth game this week, we're going to look at two teams that one's coming off a win that I didn't think would happen, and the other one's coming off a loss. They didn't lose by much, and that's the Washington Commanders, who beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you guys saw my video last week, you did know that I couldn't decide on that one, but I gave it to Jacksonville as a little leg up against the Commanders, and I was wrong about the Commanders, obviously, and they kind of surprised me Sunday when I saw part of the game. I did not think that they could play that well. I kind of really thought Jacksonville would have the upper hand on that one. Detroit lost at home against the Eagles, and it was really back and forth, and it was very surprising to see that one. But for this one, for these two teams, I'm going to give this one to Detroit. I'll give this one to Detroit. I was more impressed with them last week in week 1 against the Eagles than I was with the Commanders against the Jacksonville. And I have a feeling that the Lions will be able to beat the Commanders, and if not, then week 3 we'll reassess the Commanders, guys. We will reassess them. But for now, they're going to be in the category of it's going to be tough to pick, but we'll make that decision. But for this one, the Lions will take this one at home and move on 1-1 in the season. Okay, and for our next game, it's the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. One team's coming off a tie again against the Houston Texans, where if you guys did see the video last week, I did say that the Colts-Texans game was a 50-50 game. And that one I technically was right about. It was hard. I had to make a pick because that's what we do here. We make our picks for our NFL week. And I was right about it. It was a 50-50. I would have been right either way. It was a good game from what I saw. Jacksonville did not impress me against the Commanders at all. They're going to be at home on this one, but honestly, we're going to give this one to the Colts, and they'll move on with a win and a tie. That's all there is to say about this one. Next up, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers going to New Orleans. And guys, New Orleans surprised the hell out of me in the game against the Falcons. The Falcons let a 26-point game get away from them and allowed the Saints to come back. And I did say last week that Saints defense was going to be surprising, and the offense surprised me even more. I was very impressed with what I saw. But with this one, it is Brady. It is Julio Jones. It is Tampa. We're going to give this one to Tampa. This could be Tampa's first loss of the season, but honestly, we're going to give it to Brady and let Brady just have this one for me, and we're just going to let him run with it. Our next game, Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants. Guys, again, this is another team that kind of ruined. These are two teams that ruined my thing last week. I did not think Carolina would lose to the Browns. They ended up losing. Did not think the Giants would beat the Titans, and they did. So for this one, the Giants are at home. I'm going to give this one to the home team and give it to the Giants. I think the Giants will be able to beat Carolina. I feel confident that they have the offense and the defense to do so. I don't know if it'll be a high-scoring game. I don't believe so. I think this one will be the low-scoring game of the week. Probably the lowest-scoring game of the week. But, again, this is just predictions and just picks. I'm not a fortune teller. So, but for this one, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the New York Giants on this one. And I think Saquon Barkley can get something going definitely against Carolina, so hopefully he's on your fantasy for this one. The Patriots at the Steelers. Okay, for this one, we are going with the Steelers. They went with Trubisky. They were able to stop the Bengals. The Steelers' defense is stronger than ever, I believe. I mean, they picked off Burrow 4 times and caused him to fumble. It was very interesting and impressive to see for a team that lost a lot of star power. So I have a feeling that this is a game where the Steelers will be able to take it for sure. Atlanta at the Rams, and we're going to pay attention closely to this one, guys, because the Falcons, that offense put up points very quickly against the Saints, but the defense just let it slip. I feel like the defense is going to come out swinging against the Rams, but the Rams are going to have something to prove, especially losing against Buffalo in a season opener and only putting up 10 points from a Super Bowl caliber team. They won the Super Bowl last year, and they were not very impressive at all Thursday. So I'm gonna pay attention closely to this one. I'm gonna give it to the Rams. I feel like they have more to prove for coming off of a Super Bowl win and having an abysmal season opener last Thursday, and we're gonna root for them, and hopefully we're gonna get them a win. and they're going to show us their Super Bowl caliber team that they have. Yeah, they don't have Von Miller, but that's fine. I know this team is better than what they showed us on Thursday, and we'll discuss it on week 3 when week 3 comes around. Our next game is a very surprising victory from Monday Night Football, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. And they are traveling all the way down to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers. And the 49ers did not impress me at all against the Bears. I told you guys, if you watched my video last week, that the rookie Trey Lance, he had to prove himself. He put up 10 points quick, and it was very good. But that defense, the Niners defense, it crumbled. And the offense couldn't put up any more points than that, and the Bears came back to win it of 19 unanswered points. This is a team that really needs to rethink the structure and really think of what they're going to do. If it was me, I would put Garoppolo back in, especially for this one and it being a division game. But I have a feeling they're going to give Trey Lance one more time, one more shot, and he's going to have to prove himself at home, because if not, the Niners fans are going to eat him alive. And the defense has to stop Seattle. They have to. That's all they're going to have to do. And we saw Denver this past Monday. They were not able to stop Seattle right out of the gate. They scored 7. So this is a Seattle team that they're hungry. They're ready. They're ready to hopefully give Pete Carroll a sunset set-off with the Lombardi Trophy. Will it happen? Probably not. But this is a team that is hungry for it. And I saw it Monday night. And the Niners, they need to think real hard about what they're going to do. So for this one in Santa Clara, Niners, Seahawks, I'm going with the Seahawks on this one. Trey Lance and the Niners need to surprise me, and that offense needs to stay scoring, and the defense needs to stop with the penalties and stop giving up the unanswered points. They need to hold the offense of the other team. We'll reassess this team in week 3, but for right now, Seahawks have my vote. It's a game that I'm not looking forward to trying to break down, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott's out. He's got to have surgery. He'll be out for probably a month, maybe more, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm thinking 2.5 months, so 10 weeks. It's going to be a tough one, tough road for Dallas. They're at home against the Bengals with this one. Burrow had 5 turnovers himself against Pittsburgh. 4 of them were interceptions. 1 of them was a fumble. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl. This was a team that everyone was talking about last year. This was a team that everyone thought was going to win the Super Bowl last year. And again, same thing I said about the Rams. They need to show us that Super Bowl caliber team that they had last year. They can do it. I know they can do it. But they need to show it to us. Burrow needs to show it to us. So with this one, it's a tough one. With Dak Prescott hurt, him having surgery, him not playing at all, I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one. We will reassess this again in week 3. That is already 2 games for sure that we're going to reassess. Okay, we are reassessing the Seahawks and the Niners, and we're reassessing the Bengals and the Cowboys in week 3. But for right now, the Bengals, they got my vote. They got my win for week 2. They'll go 1-1. The Houston Texans at the Denver Broncos. Okay, the Denver Broncos did not look that great. This will be Russell Wilson's first game at home. Houston, again, tied with Indianapolis. They looked great. It was kind of a back and forth with Indy. Honestly, with this one, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson and the Broncos at home. I think they'll be able to pick up the victory against the Texans. He's not in Seattle with all the noise. He'll be fine. He'll be calm, cool, collected. It's going to go to Denver taking the victory over the Texans. Next on Sunday, the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Derek Carr's coming off a really bad game. 3 interceptions. The Cardinals are also coming off a really tough loss against Kansas City. I feel like the Raiders could have had that game won if they did not... if the offense didn't give up so much in turnovers. I didn't feel like the Cardinals had any chance of winning against the Chiefs. So for this one, I'm going to give this to the Raiders, but the offense really needs to pick it up and the defense needs to hold. The defense did decent against the Chargers, but the offense is what really hurt them and killed them. Derek Carr needs to stop throwing his interceptions. He tied his career high with 3 in one game, and he needs to not do that. That's bad. So if he can perform in this game and find Adams, the Raiders will take this one. I'm going to give it to the Raiders over the Cardinals. Another divisional game, and it's another big one. The Chicago Bears coming off the victory against the 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. And guys, Aaron Rodgers against the Vikings, I did not think they were going to get stomped like they did. Kirk Cousins was great. The offense for the Vikings was phenomenal. The defense for the Packers couldn't stop anything. And Rodgers couldn't get anything going. I honestly think this is going to be Rodgers' last year, either as a Packer or in the NFL, and he'll need to move on. The Bears are coming off a high with a victory against what was a decent team of the 49ers. For this one, I am going to give this one to the Packers. They're at home. I think they'll be able to work out their cobwebs. I feel like they'll be able to put up the victory against the Bears. I'm going to give this one to Aaron Rodgers one more time. If not, we'll see. But Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, over the Bears. Okay, so Monday night we have 2 games. One's on ESPN, one's on ABC. It's weird. One's at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time. The other one's at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's kind of weird, but I guess pick your poison. Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills. This one's going to the Bills. They're at home. They're coming off a huge victory against the Super Bowl team. This team, Josh Allen and the Bills, they looked like a Super Bowl team Thursday. They were fantastic. They had a rocky start, but they shook off the cobwebs and they went for it in LA. I'm going to give this one to Buffalo at home for Josh Allen. I think this is a team that we all need to watch out for this season. Don't be surprised if we see the Bills in the AFC Championship game this year. Finally, the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. I was very surprised at what I saw in the Vikings and Kirk Cousins against the Packers. I did not think they had that in them. The Eagles, I was relatively surprised with against the Lions as well. I chose them to win it, which was good pick by me. But for this one, I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one. I think that they are a great offense. They have a great defense. They are playing like a top-tier team. I don't be surprised if we see them in the playoffs for sure. don't even be surprised if we see them taking the NFC North. I know that's a big thing to say, but I think this team could take the NFC North and be the top team in that division. So let's keep an eye out on that team for sure. For this one, we are going to go with the Vikings away against the Philadelphia Eagles Monday night. Remember, 2 Monday night games. One's on ESPN, starts at 4:15. That's Tennessee and Buffalo, and the Vikings and the Eagles are at 5:30 on ABC. Don't forget that. It's kind of confusing this week. I don't know why they have 2 Monday night games, but they do. So those are our picks for the week, for week 2. Let's see how we do. And again, you guys, thank you for watching. If you agree with me, if you don't, let's get a discussion going down in the comments. And let's talk. I want to hear from you guys and what your thoughts are about my picks or what you disagree and agree about. Okay, I am Sean Paris, and this was Sports Talk. I'll catch you guys next week.